Hello everyone, I picked this up today. I just got the Henry Axe, which is one of the last long guns for Henry that I was expecting to buy. And like with all my Henrys, I'm going to go ahead and add this little hammer extension on it. This one doesn't have an optic. These are actually great if you have some sort of scope on any of your Henrys. It makes it easier. You can still get your thumb between the hammer and the scope, but it's kind of a tight space, and depending on the size of your thumb, you might have to kind of go in at an angle for it. But this is actually really good. Even if you don't, like I have one on my Henry revolver, and it just makes it so much nicer and more comfortable to pull the hammer back. And as you can see, it's a standard hammer. There's nothing special about the one on the X. I like how flat that goes. Look how low that goes. But as with most guns, I don't like to leave them the way that they are. I usually add a little something to it. First thing I'm going to be doing though is on this little hammer extension, I am going to use some alumina blue, or alumina black, I'm sorry, to go ahead and fade that out. I'm not a fan of all these logos being in white, especially on dark objects like this is black. So I don't want that standing out. I don't like being some sort of billboard for all of these products. Same way with clothing. I don't like wearing things with name brand stuff on them. I just think it looks cheap. Again, it makes you look like a walking billboard. And if you don't mind that, go for it. But with my guns, I don't like to see brands all over my firearms. I will say this is a Carlson's hammer expander. I have these again on some of the other ones, and it's just a good option. They make them from Marlins, and I believe a couple of other brands. Well, at the very least, they fit other brands. This one specifically is the centerfire rifle one for the big boy rifles, which this is pretty much like a larger receiver for the big boys. If you do get a rimfire one, they do make one specific to rimfire. So let me start by cleaning this up with a little bit of alcohol and then putting some alumina black to go ahead and get that faded out. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and use just regular alcohol, wipe that down, clean that up. Before I do that, let me put something down. I don't want to mess up my table. Get this out of the way. Spilled some, but it's not too big a deal. It's just alcohol. And it'll just help the alumina black kind of get in there a little bit better. That's really the only reason I clean this up. As you can see, it's pretty dirty. And if you put alumina black on that, it'll still work. It just won't be as effective, and it'll take applying it a couple of times. But again, you can just avoid all of that by making sure this is nice and clean. Make sure it's dry. Let me try the other side here. And then just hit it up with some of the alumina black. I've used this for quite a few firearms. It's all dirty on top. It's not no bottle. That's just the way it looks. Some birchwood alumina black. You could pick these up at most gun shops. I believe Walmart has them as well. I don't recall 100%, but I think I might have purchased that at Walmart. All right, this is nice and dry. So next thing I'm going to do is just put some of this alumina black on there. Just dip that in. Kind of looks like a bluish solution. And then just go over it a few times. It's not a one and done kind of thing, at least I haven't found it to be. It does work, but then if it dries, the lettering kind of comes back a little bit, then you just go over it again. See how now you really can't even see what it says? If you knew what it says, you might be able to look at it and then kind of make out the letters. But if it's the first time you're glancing at it, you're not going to know that there was actual writing there. You'll see that it had something, just not be able to make out what it was or is. You can see that working. So I'll just do this like once or twice. It doesn't take too much. It's not a whole big area to cover anyway. And then I'll just dry it up completely and then put it on the gun. What I don't have is any Loctite, so I'll need to kind of keep mental note that once I install this, at some point I do have to go back in there and put a little blue Loctite. And the Loctite, if you're not familiar with these, it has on one side, it's kind of hard to see there, but it has a little screw, and that's what holds on to the hammer. You'll tighten it, it'll come out this end right here. You'll end up seeing it kind of push against the hammer, which is why you need some sort of like Loctite in there. Let me go ahead and take this off. Do need to back that up just enough for it to be able to slide. And just to show you, let me go ahead and clean this off. That way in the future, once I get some of that, I'll probably do it again anyway, but once I get a little bit of Loctite, I'll be able just to put it on there, know that the thread's already clean. But that's really all it is. Just goes in here, comes out the end there, and then presses against the hammer. All right, that's good enough. Now just to wipe down the entire thing. Anytime you're working with chemicals, you might want to wear gloves. I should, I just don't. I haven't grown a sixth finger just yet, so far I guess I've been lucky. But you don't want to leave something like that to luck, especially if you have like a cut or something that maybe you forgot about, then you're handling chemicals. It's not going to be the best thing. All right, for now, I'm good with that. If I notice later on that some coloring like returns, I can just go over it again with a little bit more of the Illumina black. So that's always good to have around. You could use that on most guns safely. All right, so that's good and clean. Now let me go ahead and install this. And that's it. It's installed. As you can see, it's pretty straightforward, not a whole lot to it. And it just gives a really, really nice positive feel to that hammer. Some might not like the way it looks. I don't mind it at all. Especially since it works. That's the biggest thing. It might look a certain way to some people, but once you've tried it, you realize that it really is just that much nicer, and it's worth having it even if you're not a big fan of the looks. I don't think it really takes anything away from the gun. So that's it. We'll get a sling for this later on. I'm not sure which one I'm getting just yet. I just got this gun, so I haven't really toyed with anything, and I do plan on taking it out to the range soon. I'm going to take this out at the same time as I take out my 22 rifle, so I can go ahead and zero in that scope. The only thing I haven't decided is whether I should put something on the top or not. I like the way this looks. It's nice and clean. I don't think this would look good with a red dot for a couple of reasons. One, just the aesthetics of it. I just don't think I can picture any type of dot that would look like slick on this. And secondly, I'm not sure how I feel about having a lever gun with a red dot. If it was a tactical version that they have, I could see that, because I have seen some of those. They don't look too bad. But something as clean and classic looking as this, I just can't see it. So maybe some peep sights. Let me know what you think.